video covers some key technique and movement fundamentals of volleyball. Many of the progressions and practices shown should also prove useful to teachers and coaches of other fast ball sports. The video is organised into 10 sections, each one of which illustrates a key movement fundamental. These are: ready for action, beating the ball, judgment of ball flight, use of body weight, hip control, contact point, focus of weight, use of knees, balance and body awareness, and teamwork. Early preparation and efficiency of movement is important in all sports. Good posture reflects both mental and physical readiness. Here, the player is being encouraged to imagine they're like a big cat, prowling and ready to pounce on the ball. This helps to develop a sensation of being ready for action. Some key characteristics of a ready position in volleyball are: the feet should be shoulder width apart with knees inside the line of the toes. The weight should be forward with knees loaded. The spine is kept straight with the hands in front of the body, ready to move. At all levels of play, an internal state of alertness and readiness for action is necessary. Players must balance a high level of mental activity whilst maintaining good body shape. A heightened state of alertness should be evident in the face and eyes of the player. Lively footwork is essential for rapid movement. With so much happening around the player, peripheral vision becomes very important. Maintaining posture during movement is also necessary. Here, by keeping tension on the bicycle inner tubes, the player is encouraged to maintain good posture and footwork whilst moving in relation to the ball. And with practice, players can stay in balance and low despite the coach's attempts to fake the player out of posture. In rebound sports, the player needs to arrive at the interception point in a balanced and controlled state before the ball arrives. And here, while defending an area of the court, the player demonstrates good movement, ball contact, follow through and recovery to base position. The speed of the ball must be accurately judged by players in order for them to control it and redirect it towards a target. The problem the player faces here is to control the ball and to pass over long and short distances. As the speed of the ball is varied, the player must recognise this change and adjust the force of contact to pass the ball to a close or more distant target as called out by the teacher. The ability to recognise differences in ball flight is necessary for successful anticipation of the point of contact. The key feature is the peak point of the ball's flight. By clapping at the moment that the ball peaks, the player acknowledges the midpoint of the ball flight, which helps them judge the point of interception. The three major phases of the ball flight are being identified by the player. As first, he touches the floor during the ascent of the ball, then he claps at the peak point, finally moving forward on its descent, following through the contact point with good posture. You may be surprised to learn that the foundation of precise ball control is the use of the whole body. This whole body control can be difficult for beginners to master, as the more natural tendency is to focus on the control of the hands and arms, as shown here by the younger players. Contrast this to the more experienced players who show better use of the whole body when passing. The key to control of the body's weight is control in the midsection of the body. The hip line becomes a key feature. Having established posture prior to moving, the player should keep the hip line parallel to the floor and in the same plane whilst moving. This allows more controlled body movement and keeps the head and eyes stable for observing the ball. The use of the elasticated training harness and rod has a twofold effect. It assists the teacher or coach in identifying unnecessary movement of the hips during the smash approach, and it highlights the sensations experienced by the player during the action. In these sequences, focus on the contrasting movement of the hips between the beginner and the more advanced player. The elasticated harness can also be used to highlight the sensations of the hip action when the player is performing more complex techniques like blocking. Many sports require a very precise ability to align different body parts with the ball flight. The player here is being told where to catch the ball. for instance in front of her head or knees, which requires a combination of accurate reading of the ball flight with good movement and positioning of the body. Efficient smashing combines the correct ball flight judgment with the timing of the approach and jump to contact the ball at full extension in front of the body. And reliable smashing is the product of a consistent and precise hand-ball contact point. This contact zone should be along the line of the smash approach, between the head and hitting shoulder, in front of the body, with the hitting arm fully extended. A consistent contact point is achieved by eliminating all unnecessary movements of the shoulders and head and stabilizing the left side of the body. A consistent contact point is also the basis of a quality volley pass. The contact point is above the hairline and on the mid-line of the body. A consistent and correct contact point enhances the precision and quality of the ball. On contact, a vertical line through the ball should bisect the body of the passer. Having identified the ball contact point, the player must focus on moving their weight through this point into the direction of the target. The player achieves accuracy and control of the underarm pass by establishing the contact point early and then plays through this point with the body weight along a line directly towards the target. When smashing, the contact point is established by the left, non-hitting side, and power is generated by using the whole body weight through this point in the direction of the smash. And here we see how the direction of the smash can be changed whilst maintaining the same contact point, simply by varying the direction of the approach. As knee movement controls the raising and lowering of the body's centre of weight, their use is critical in controlling ball flight. And it's the knees and not the arms that are used to give energy to or absorb energy from the ball. The use of the heavy ball in training helps players to develop a better awareness of how to coordinate the knee action, and hence their body weight, to control the flight of the ball. The setter uses knee extension to help time the delivery of the set to the attacker. By using a similar knee extension, when two attackers are involved, the setter can disguise the timing and height of the set. To coordinate action effectively, players must develop good balance, as this is an important element of most techniques. And by closing their eyes, players can be encouraged to pay particular attention to the sensations of holding balance, as the removal of vision makes it more difficult to maintain stability and focuses the player's attention internally. Balance can also be shown to be an important part of dynamic actions. In these practices, players are emphasizing the importance of balance as a part of more complex techniques. In this way, balance and posture are closely related. Good balance facilitates the control of correct posture and enables players to produce the skills efficiently. Balance, once the player has left the ground, is also important. Notice here how prior to contacting the ball, the player appears to momentarily hang or pause. This is a feature of good balance in the air. In these practices, players are working with their eyes closed as a way of heightening the sensations associated with movement. This practice emphasizes the need for setters to be able to sense their position in relation to a target, particularly on the back set. And more generally, these types of practices improve players' orientation skills. By removing vision, the setter must sense the rhythm of the approaching smasher to deliver the ball accurately. This emphasizes the close linkage that exists between the setter and the smasher. All team games require 2 or more players to cooperate to cover and defend their court area. This exercise demonstrates how an understanding of the roles of each player within the team can be developed. Court coverage begins with the players in a predetermined or base position, and players must adjust to the threat of attack posed by the coach who is trying to roll the ball off of the court. And here, the left side player moves to cover the primary or main attack direction, while the right side player moves to balance and cover the remainder of the court against the alternative attack options. From base position, the players move in response to the threat of attack. Each player is clearly responsible for a ball played directly to them or to their side of the court. However, it is necessary to establish some rules for the area of overlapping responsibility which exists in between two players. A convention is shown here in which the right side player is responsible for covering the short ball and the left side player covers the deep ball. And using two balls increases the demands on the players. As the number of players is increased, their organisational skills need to be more disciplined. The players move from base position in response to the attack direction indicated by the teacher. One player has responsibility for the main attack direction, whilst the other players establish a balanced court position to counteract any other possible attacks. Here we see the teacher correcting small positional errors of beginner players as they adjust to cover their defensive space. These practices help players develop the awareness and understanding of their role within the team, especially movement off the ball to cover or help their teammates. This understanding is a fundamental of both attack and defence in all team sports. The blocker and backcourt player work in unison in terms of the timing and direction of their movements to defend the court. A team can only work effectively as a unit when all the players maintain similar posture and move together to arrive in their defensive positions prior to the attack contact being made. In this practice, the three players must work together to defend their court, with the outside players responsible for short balls and the middle player covering balls played deep into the corners. In order to develop the alertness and awareness of teammates necessary for good defence, the players are required to switch positions after playing the ball. Good posture, early preparation, efficient movement, and effective teamwork are all common features of sport at the highest level. For those involved in teaching movement skills, volleyball provides the ideal challenge.